hands and then work it across the person's body and find out if there are other wounds that may have not revealed themselves yet. And they certainly do that once the protectee is put into the vehicle, again, to make sure that they can get an early read on any other traumatic injuries or wounds. So we continue to learn and see different things in this video, but it's certainly an example of professionalism, calm thinking, and training at work here as we watch these Secret Service agents move into this coordinated action, calling out vital information in short and terse statements. Shooter is down. Are we clear? And that sort of back and forth communication. It's fascinating to watch. NBC's Dasha Burns is still outside what was the Trump rally. She was there when the shots rang out. She and her crew, we're happy to say, are safe. But you've been talking to people who were in a traffic jam. I don't see vehicles behind you, so it looks like there's some progress, Dasha, in clearing this area.
Yeah, Lester, last time we talked, there were cars all up and down this road here trying to get out of this venue. There were thousands of cars parked all across these lawns here. Now that's cleared up, but we did speak to some of the people who have been making their way out, people who witnessed this absolute tragedy. And I want to introduce you to some folks who kindly pulled their vehicle over for us so that we could speak with them. This is Stacy and Vanessa. And as you said, Lester, the former president now posted on Truth Social describing how he was shot in his ear, grazed by a bullet in his right ear. Well, Vanessa was right there. You both were right in front of the former president when this happened. Can you describe what you witnessed?
Yes, we were 6 rows back, straight in front of him, and at his podium, we could see him really good. He was talking about his chart, and he moved his head to the right to explain where they're at in the chart. And then as he moved his head to look at the chart up on the screen, that's when he got grazed in the ear. If he had not moved his head at that nick of time, it could have been a lot worse.
So he moved his head just in the right moment to get an ear graze instead of something worse.
Yes.
And Lester, let me just explain to you briefly, because we were on the press risers as the former president was starting his speech at the rally. He was only a few minutes in. What Vanessa is referring to when she's talking about those charts, he was talking about immigration and immigration under the Biden administration. He had screens on the left and the right of him, behind him, and he was pointing to one of those screens where he had a chart that was detailing immigration rates, and he turned to point to that chart, and that is when his ear was grazed, and you've seen this on the video. But to Vanessa's point, if he hadn't made that turn to show that chart, things could have been a lot different. Vanessa, where you were when you first heard those shots ring out, what went through your mind and what happened with you and the people around you?
At first, I didn't know if they were firecrackers. There were 6 pops. It just went pop, 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 pop. And then as I was staring straight ahead, I looked across and I didn't see anything. So I looked back at President Trump, and that's when he went down. And then
what ran through your mind?
That, we are all in a situation that we could be very hurt. And they're telling us to all get down, stay down. And then a lot of things went through my mind. Where's my husband? What about the 3 people that we met today beside us? Who else could be injured? Why did this happen at President Trump's rally? I mean, a lot of things went through my head. Are we going to be out of here safe?
And what are you, you are safe, thank goodness, and I'm so glad you are, and I'm so sorry that we're meeting under these circumstances. As you sit here in your car now, trying to process all of this, what are you feeling now?
I just want to go home. I just want to go home. I'm glad that President Trump is okay. I worry about the children that were at the rally and how traumatized they are after witnessing all this. The little girl that was a couple rows ahead of us, she was petrified. And what's going through her mind? Is she going to be okay, or is she going to have, nightmares? Or, I worry about children. I worry about the people that lost their loved ones today. And I most certainly worry about my President Trump.
Vanessa,
We're okay.
I'm so glad you're okay. Vanessa, Stacey, thank you so much. And please, you deserve to go home. You deserve to get some rest now. And I hope you drive safe. And thank you so much. They've been here since 7 o'clock in the morning, a long day, and certainly not the day that you were expecting. So thank you so much. And Lester, the sun is now setting here in Butler County as the tragedy of the day is just starting to dawn on all of us who are here.
All right, Dosh, I think that woman sums it up well. She just wants to go home. It's been, for all those people who were there, what a story they will tell, and what a trauma, certainly an emotional trauma, to be a part of all that. Our investigative correspondent Tom Witter joins us again. Tom, what more are you learning from what appears to be a pretty rapidly unfolding investigation?
I think that's well put, Lester. I think there's a lot going on behind the scenes in law enforcement as they investigated. The FBI, the U.S. Attorney's Office locally is on top of it. We're in the process right now. We're just doing a little extra verification of video that appears to show the aftermath of the shooting and this individual who shot from, as you just heard the district attorney to you say, from several hundred yards away. It was not, if all this video syncs up and looking at the maps, it does not appear to have been head on, if you will. So our vantage point towards Trump, it would have been from off to the side to what would be towards our left looking at this shooting. That's where it appears to have occurred, but we're still waiting to get more details at this hour. As far as, the president has said he was grazed by a wound. I'm looking there at both teleprompters, which would be the closest glass, and they both appear to be sound. There does not appear to be any sort of damage to them. So it does appear, at least initially, that that's the case, but we're waiting to get some additional confirmation. What will happen now, this investigation in some ways will be quick because they'll want to make sure that there's nobody else that they need to be looking for. We obviously have other people who are running for office or in office currently that they want to make sure are going to be safe or not impacted by anybody who knew this individual. But from a forensic standpoint, from other standpoints, they will slow this down. And once they search that individual's premises, they will make sure that they have a full accounting and cataloging of all the evidence, even though the alleged shooter is believed to be deceased. They need to go through all of that. And just to take a bit of a step back here, Lester, we have been talking about for months, the FBI director has talked to you specifically about the incredible threat environment, and I don't use that word in a good way, but the incredible threat environment that is facing the United States. And at the center of that is obviously the tremendous political discord that we have, as well as foreign threats. And so when you look at this type of thing, unfortunately, is something that has been feared by law enforcement, that we would see some sort of political violence, and obviously that's something that appears to have happened here today. So we're waiting to get more details. We do not have a name. That I will caution people that are, as so often happens, Lester, as you know now, people are watching us and listening to what we have to say and keeping an eye on their phones and social media. There are several names that are going around on social media that I can tell you are flat out not true. Some of those individuals have been involved in prior mass shooting events. Some of those individuals are bloggers from foreign countries who have no nexus to this whatsoever. And so there's no indication, at least at this stage, that any of the names that have been widely circulated on social media are in fact associated with this shooter. And I think it's important for people to point that out. I'm not going to mention them because for some of those people, they have nothing to do with this, and we certainly don't want to give them any notoriety for no good reason.
Yeah, important to point out. All right, Tom Witter, thank you. We'll come back to you as you continue to gather more information. I'm going to bring back Evie Pomperus, a former Secret Service agent. I don't know if you heard my interview with the district attorney a few moments ago. He was describing there's an elevated area and perhaps of several hundred yards around this site. It's been pointed out that the wound received by Mr. Trump was on his right cheek. What are you able to put together as you visualize this?
You know, as I'm listening to the whole thing and we're hearing that the threat, in the terms that we would use, the threat's been neutralized, right? We understand, and what we're hearing is that the shooter is no longer alive. I'm thinking, how did that shooter get taken out? And was that shooter taken out actually at a distance? One of the elements you typically have when it comes to protection, you have counter sniper team. Sometimes the Secret Service will have their own team. Other times, if there are not enough resources, which can happen during a campaign season like this, if everybody's stretched out too thin, you may use a local element. So when I hear that the individual from a distance was shooting, I always think immediately of that counter sniper element. Was somebody able to take that person out? Now, when you have counter sniper, your counter snipers are always going to be at an elevated position. So if you're in an urban environment, they're going to be up in high-rise buildings. If you're in an environment like this, they're going to be maybe on any podiums or any stands, anything that gives them elevation. And what they're doing, Lester, consistently is they are looking out through their scopes, through their binoculars. They're looking out and they're looking what's going on in the distance. So immediately, again, I'm assessing based on what we've done in the past. When you hear those sounds, you're immediately going to look to the direction of where those sounds go.